It was broken. My hand luggage was completely shattered and was covered in sellotape. I'll show you pictures of it. It was so funny when I saw it. I couldn't believe it. Hello beautiful people, hope you're all doing well. In this video, I'm going to share with you my experience on the Airbus A330 business class flight from Abuja, Nigeria to Frankfurt, Germany, and the ordeal I endured. But first, let's go back a couple of days before my flight. So I landed in Abuja after spending a couple of days in Lagos. For those of you that don't know, Abuja is the capital of Nigeria, and this will be my third time visiting the capital, but it will be my absolute first time properly going around and exploring the city. I visited my lovely aunt during this trip. She's an interior designer based in Abuja, and I spent a lot of time tagging along with her to work as she visited a few of our projects. That's the reason we have all of these construction sites in the background. I also had the pleasure of visiting a showroom. I mean, just look how gorgeous these rooms are. She's so amazing. I'm so proud of her, and actually I was really inspired on this trip by how much of a boss she is. Honestly, she's just pure goals. This trip was really relaxed and very laid back. I would say two words that perfectly describes Abuja in my opinion. And honestly, I really needed this break after all of the chaos that is Lagos. I mean, Lagos is just exhausting. On one of the nights I was in Abuja, we went to Tata and had a lovely dinner with my aunt and a friend of ours. And of course, I had to take the typical Insta pictures at Tata. I highly recommend Tata if you're in Abuja for great food and just generally good vibes and amazing service. A day before my flight, I went to get my hair done. Of course, you can't leave Nigeria after a visit without getting your hair done. So I went to Infinity Hair and Beauty Lounge in Wuse 2. I'll add their details below. As you can see, they did such a great job at the hair salon. The service there is fantastic and they have very reasonable prices. Afterwards, I went to the gallery of a local artist to pick up some souvenirs for my friends. I was really impressed with the items and the collection that she had. And it was also such a cool space in general. She had mugs, cookie jars, postcards, coasters, etc. with her original artwork on them. Just really cool. I also put in her details below if you want to order anything from her. And the next day was my last day in Abuja. Morning everyone, hope you're all doing well. Today is my last day in Lagos and it's very bittersweet. I'm both happy to be heading back home. It's been almost 2 weeks and I feel like 2 weeks is my threshold of being away from home. After 2 weeks I'm like, okay, it's time to wrap it up, time to go home. But it's bittersweet. I'm really happy to have had this time with my friends and my family. It's just been so great. Today is just very chill. I'm not really doing anything. As you can see, there's no light. The is just taking lights, so I'm just waiting for breakfast to be made. Well, brunch at this time. It's almost 12:30. Bit of a late start to my morning. I was just getting all of my luggage ready, checking in for my flight, making sure that I'm all packed. So I'm not going to do much. I'm just going to relax. I'm going to have something to eat, and around 4 o'clock I'm going to head to the airport with my aunt. But yeah, this is also my hair from yesterday. I told you guys I went to get my hair braided. They did such a great job. And this boo-boo I'm wearing I got from a market with my mom. I don't remember the name of the market, but I will look for it and add it. How lovely. Like, I wish I could show you guys. Hold on 1 second, I'll show you. Okay, so this is the dress. So pretty. I don't think you guys can see it all, but it's really long. I absolutely love it. And it's got this kind of ashoke detailing around the neck and at the arms as well, the hems of the sleeves, and it's got pockets. I love it. Yeah, and this is my hair as well. As you guys can see, really, really long. A little bit too long for me, to be honest, quite dramatic, but I still really like it. All right, like I was saying, guys, my trip is coming to an end. I'm really so happy. It's been a lovely, lovely trip. I feel so fulfilled, and I feel like my heart is so full from spending so much time with my friends, and really, most importantly, family. I've spent more time with family than I have friends. Hi everyone, it's Winnie from the future. I just wanted to provide a little bit of context before I show you the review of this Lufthansa flight. So if we step back a little bit, when I booked this ticket, I initially booked this ticket with Air France. Okay, I booked a round trip ticket with Air France from Dublin to Lagos in economy, and then I booked a business class ticket. This also with Air France from Abuja to Dublin in business class. And I think this is also an interesting way for you to trial out business class if you don't want to pay for both legs. For me, it was an option that I thought was actually really, really, really helpful and allows you to experience this interesting experience without breaking the bank too much. So the first leg of the flight went really, really smoothly. The flight to Lagos was great, no problems. But a couple of days before my flight departing from Abuja, I got an email from Air France saying that my layover in Paris, which was initially 2 hours, had now gone from 2 hours to about 4 hours. I really didn't mind this because for me that just meant more time in the business class lounge in Paris in Charles de Gaulle. So I wasn't too upset about this. Let's just say between the first email I got from them about the potential increase in my layover until I got to the check-in desk, they had emailed me about 3 times discussing about a further rescheduling of my flight from Paris to Dublin. So the flight from Abuja to Paris was fine, but it just kept moving my flight from Paris to Dublin, and as such, and by that also increasing how long my layover would be. When I got to the check-in desk, the layover that was initially 2 hours at the beginning, like when I booked this flight, was now 12 hours. 12. This was unacceptable. I mean, not unacceptable, but it was quite inconvenient, and I would get home really, really late. It wasn't going to work. So we had a bit of a back and forth with the check-in desk agent. Bless her, she did nothing wrong, and I felt so bad for her, but she was definitely the bearer of bad news. But in the end, we came to a solution. So the check-in desk agent offered me an alternative that instead of flying with Air France, because they seemed to be having some kind of weather issue in Paris, which was causing all of the delays, they offered an alternative of flying with Lufthansa. There happened to be a Lufthansa flight that was flying from Abuja that same evening going to Frankfurt, and I could take a flight from Frankfurt to Dublin. I said fine, as long as I didn't lose my business class seat, and thankfully there was availability. So that's how I am reviewing a Lufthansa business class flight from Abuja to Frankfurt. It was initially supposed to be Air France. This Lufthansa flight in particular was on the Airbus A330, and the configuration in business class was a 222, which is a great combination because it essentially means, which depends on where you sit, but luckily I had an aisle seat, but I remember that I was not too happy about this because I wanted a window seat. But the downside is that if you had a window seat, that meant that if you wanted to go pee, you had to wake up your neighbor, which is a little bit inconvenient. So for me, the best business class that I've been on is on Delta One. Delta One is a fantastic business class experience. I'm sure you can watch videos on YouTube if you're curious. And the configuration of the flight that I took on Delta One was a 121, which in my opinion is the best configuration because it means everybody has access to the aisle without disturbing anyone else. Anyway, I digress. So let me show you very quickly what the Airbus A330 looked like from Abuja to Frankfurt. I'm also going to show you a little bit of what the dining options were, some of the amenities that were provided on board. But I would say overall a very comfortable flight and definitely worth the price tag that I paid for it.
Lassen Sie Ihr Handgepäck an Bord. Sollte der Druck in der Kabine sinken, fallen automatisch Sauerstoffmasken aus der Kabine. Ziehen Sie die Maske ganz zu sich herunter, um den Sauerstofffluss zu starten. Drücken Sie die Maske auf Mund und Nase. Befinden Sie sich unter dem Sitz. Auf Anweisung der Crew ziehen Sie Ihre Schwimmweste über den Kopf. Führen Sie den Funk.
flight was great and I had no issues. When I got back to Dublin, my issues continued. So I got back to Dublin and my luggage did not arrive with me. Like, I don't know if I mentioned earlier, but I only had a 1 hour layover in Frankfurt, which if you've been to the Frankfurt airport, you know how massive of an airport the Frankfurt airport is. And it took me, I think, about 55 minutes to get from the terminal I landed in to the terminal I was departing from. And I wasn't like strolling, I was hustling. Literally, I had only about 5 to 10 minutes to spare when I got to my gate, and luckily the business class lounge in that terminal was right across from my gate. So I only had about a couple of minutes to quickly grab something to eat for breakfast. I also wanted to just check it out and see what it looked like. I have a couple of videos. Very simple business class lounge. It was obviously very quiet. This was really early in the morning when I got there at around 6:30 a.m. or so. I had a quick breakfast. I looked around a little bit. It was great. They had a sitting area where you could eat or relax in, and then they also had some rooms where you could take a nap in if you wanted to. So pretty decent business class lounge, I would say. When I got to Dublin, like I said, my luggage did not arrive. I went to the desk of the company that manages the luggages in Dublin, and they advised me that indeed it had not arrived and it would come in on the next flight from Frankfurt to Dublin. I'm like, okay, no problem. And they were willing to, and they were offering to deliver it at my home address, which was fantastic. So I went home and was waiting for my luggage to arrive. Long story short, it didn't arrive that same day, but it arrived first thing the next morning, except it was broken. My hand luggage was completely shattered and was covered in sellotape. I'll show you pictures of it. It was so funny when I saw it. I couldn't believe it. So yeah, 2 things that I did that I would highly recommend you do if you're ever in this scenario. First of all, if you take a flight and your luggage is damaged, it goes without saying, you should definitely file a complaint with the airline carrier to see if you're eligible for a refund. And most airline carriers are actually really good in you go through a couple of questions to help determine the extent of the damage. They ask you to provide a picture, how much your luggage cost, etc. I did all of this and Lufthansa refunded me over €100 in compensation for me to get a new luggage. So good job, Lufthansa, check. Another thing that I did was file a complaint to Air France because of how much they disrupted my initial plan. I was looking forward to flying Air France and their plane to Paris, and that disrupted my plans. Also, I could have had other plans in Paris. I could have had something I wanted to pick up in Paris, or a purchase, or meeting someone. So that was a huge disruption, going from a completely different city layover to another one with a different airline. So I filed a complaint with their customer service team, and they compensated me €300 for the inconvenience. And I really, really appreciated this gesture from both Lufthansa and Air France. And I think all in all, like, this was definitely not the smoothest trip I've been on in terms of like my experience with the airlines and the delays and the damaged luggage and all of that. But I must say that I was really impressed with how quickly and promptly Lufthansa and Air France first acknowledged that they made a mistake, and how they followed up by compensating. So all in all, I think they had a great response, and this experience would not deter me from flying Lufthansa or Air France again. In fact, it just gives me more confidence knowing that if something happened, that they would take care of it. So yeah, that was my travel experience. I hope this was interesting. If you had a similar issue, let me know in the comment below. But yeah, it can be a bit daunting sometimes, some of the issues that comes up with airline travel, with, you know, delayed luggages or delayed flights and lost luggages and things like that. I'm happy that I didn't lose any personal items, like my luggage wasn't lost, and I know it can be a bit more inconvenient. But yeah, anyway, I'm going to stop rambling. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this video enjoyable, and yeah, I will see you again in my next one.